Shalom Yasharallah. First and foremost, I want to say all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching His truth and righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on, serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers who are out here teaching His truth, and always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai feet when you read the scriptures. I wanted to give y'all a different view of this Bad Bunny performance, and I'm not saying that this is Bad Bunny's intention, but one thing that I have noticed is that I've heard from both blackity black people and Hispanics that, you know, blackity black people, meaning the ones that don't count us Latinos as black, the ones that are kind of like, oh, you know, whatever they have to say about Hispanics, like they're pretty negative towards us. And I've also heard from a lot of Hispanics who you would think was kind of divisive towards black people. And I'm seeing a lot of basically the tribes coming together. Now, granted, not necessarily in the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, but when you think about this, what schools of thought are out there that unite black and Latino the way the truth does? And I'm telling you, as somebody who literally, I just came from an event that I was invited to at my old college for black alumni, for Black History Month. And before y'all get on my case, I wasn't pushing no Black History Month, no bullshit. It was just like kind of like a little thing to get the alumni together, because I was involved in the Black Student Union when I went to Kane University. Spelled K-E-A-N, not Cain like Cain and Abel. But yeah, we're being mentioned together more now, because we've been going through a very dark period for the past, I'd say maybe 10 years, where Hispanics' blackness has been called into question repeatedly. I'm talking about, man, we're being talked about like motherfuckers forgot. But we forgot. A lot of us Hispanics so-called forgot. But ever since this Bad Bunny performance, I'm seeing, like I said, I'm seeing a lot of pro-black black people and a lot of Hispanics that aren't necessarily on the same page as far as knowing their black ancestry starting dialogue. And you never know where that might lead them to us. Because yes, we are quote unquote part of the African diaspora. More importantly, we're part of the Israelite diaspora. But it's very important, you know, to understand that we are the same people. You know, and it's funny because it was Edomites up there on the stage presenting and talk about, yeah, all this black excellence. I'm like, what the fuck do you know about black excellence? But you know, I let them talk. I ain't gonna sit there and fucking interrupt shit. But it's just funny when you see white people talk about black excellence. You know, your people almost destroyed our black excellence if it wasn't for the Lord. In their carnal mind, they want to destroy our black excellence. But anyway, I digress. I'm not here to, you know, be anti this or that, you know, but it was just funny. And it's also funny because, remember, the college that I went to, I think I made a video and I said Turning Point USA has established a student organization at that school. And I think I said that one of it was people in the chat that was getting real rowdy and wanting to crack skulls and shit. And I literally ran into one of them. And the one that I said that was kind of like the frenemy, the one that's in there like a spy, she was there too. But anyway, this is not about that. This is about, you know, this Super Bowl and it's drawing a lot of comparisons to the Kendrick Lamar in the sense that it's deep and it has a rich cultural message. I mean, of course, the only way you could get much deeper than these Super Bowl performances if they start coming out with the truth, which you know they're not going to do. You know, I mean, you understand that at the end of the day, the reason why Jay-Z and Apple Music put Bad Bunny in front of us wasn't for the sake of the truth, but, you know, for whatever satanic agenda, because at the end of the day, they want to draw our souls not together, but to their agenda. Black and brown people can unite under Satan, and that they encourage it. But once we start uniting under Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and that's where, you know, that's where I'm not changing my tune about Bad Bunny. At the end of the day, you know, the intention, their intention is the same. But through our minds being able to think, you know, what I'm saying is that I'm starting to see a lot of so-called Black and Latino unity come back, because for a while you only heard from the so-called Negroes that didn't like Spanish people, rightfully so, because a lot of Spanish people, you know, we come from the same neighborhood, we've done the same things and found a way to get our life together. And unlike Black people, so-called African American people that found a way to get their life together, they didn't turn their backs on the struggle where a lot of us did. You know, a lot of us were Black. You know, we consider ourselves Black in the hood. And then when we got out the hood, all of a sudden we forgot. I'd like to think that if I got out the hood a day in my life, that I'll always remember who I am and who my people is. You know, because having a degree, going on cruises, getting my citizenship, none of that shit makes me any less of a nigga. But anyway, that was it on that. You know, to wrap it up, basically what I'm saying with this video is, you know, don't be surprised if you start seeing people inquire of us, because what I was at a point, you know, when I was in the Black Student Union, you gotta remember, I was in college in 1997, you know, and I was in there about 2-3 years, you know, and I found my way to a couple other religions until I found my way into the truth, you know. And it was my curiosity and me always knowing that Black and Latino people were the same people that led me to the truth. You know, because when I went to the school at first, I wasn't trying to become a Hebrew Israelite. I was just trying to learn the Bible. And I said, hey, I already knew what Christianity had to say about the Bible. What do the Hebrew Israelites, because they have a whole nother message out of the Bible. And I wanted to know, where the hell do you get all this from? So I wasn't converted when I first started going to the classes, but, you know, then eventually I started, you know, accepting and believing and changing my own life, changing the lives of others. And I wasn't the one changing the lives, of course, but on the surface level, on a carnal level, I'm the one that taught or introduced this truth to the people that did change their lives for it. And really, not only was it me that changed or that taught them the truth, but I taught people that taught others. You know, so, you know, I thank the Most High for my experiences, but this could be the experience for a lot of people coming up. You know, because nowadays you even got so-called Latinos that are looking at other Latinos like, this is what the fuck you get. You voted for Trump. You know, this is what you're going to get when you vote for a guy like Trump. You know, really woke, not this fake woke shit, but really waking up to your true nationality and knowing who the fuck you are. Because that's what we got to do. That's why we go to camp. That's why we go out there and teach the people. Because we got to teach them who the fuck they is. So they can wake up out of this shit. That's why I go to these events and shit. Because at the end of the day, I go there and some of those people recognize me from teaching in the streets. And they also remember me from when I used to be a student at Kane University. You know, present myself, show my face. Maybe somebody will, you know, want to engage in the truth. You know, you never know. You know, we gotta throw these nets out pretty wide. You know, cast a wide net, as they say. You know, you never know where and when you're gonna find a soul that wants to repent, understands that this world is not the way it's supposed to be, because that's what they teach anyway, in their own different way. If you're into Pan-Africanism, you know that shit ain't the way it's supposed to be. You just don't know the right way it's supposed to be either. Like we do when we're in this truth. But anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.